All right, my love bugs. So we are covering review of severe weather and weathering. Again, this is a review. We're not writing anything new. We're just going over what you've already learned. Um, and this should help you with any of the activities that you have on your choice board. So we're going to start with collecting weather data. We've talked about thermometer, which measures temperature. You know that one really well. We've talked about it in math too. Um, you know how to use them. You know how they work. Um, so then we have our weather vane. The weather vane, remember our little rooster, has the north, south, east, and west, and it tells the wind direction. Now, similar but not the same as the weather vane is the anemometer. So weather vane tells wind direction, anemometer tells wind speed. Vane direction, anemometer speed. Then there's the rain gauge. That one's pretty self-explanatory. It tells you how much rain has fallen, so it measures rainfall. Then you have the barometer. Barometers measure the air pressure. So you know how sometimes when it's raining and it feels like the air is closing in, you would use a barometer to tell exactly what the air pressure is and to see if the air pressure is really heavy that day. And then we have the satellites, which are used to check weather patterns from space. And similarly to that, which I didn't include on here, are the weather balloons. The difference is the satellites go all the way up into space, record, they hang out up there, just like the space station, all that other stuff. Weather balloons go up, record weather data, see how the weather is, and then they come back down somewhere else. Moving on to the types of precipitation. You know these pretty well too because we talk about them during the water cycle as well as in weather. So we have rain, snow, which seems to be your favorite, sleet, and hail. Remember that rain is the water, snow is kind of icy, and then sleet and hail are ice. Sleet has more of a watery mixture in with the ice, and then hail is the little balls of ice. And they are part of our water cycle, as I mentioned before. Remember, this is the precipitation part. Once that precipitation falls, you have accumulation in lakes, rivers, ponds. And then you have evaporation. The sun heats up the water and it evaporates. And then condensation where the clouds form so that the cycle can start all over again. Moving on to our types of severe weather. We're going to start with hurricanes. Hurricanes have high winds, heavy rainfall, and they form over the ocean. Remember that. Hurricanes over the ocean. In the middle here is where the eye is and where that circular motion is centered. Now, we've had a few hurricanes here in Virginia, but you hear mostly about them around the south, like it is here or over here in the Gulf of Mexico. But, like I said, we have had a couple here. Not too much to worry about. They mostly occur during the summer, and we're not in summer. So, we're good. And then similar to that is tornadoes, but these have high winds, rainfall, and they form over land. Hurricanes, water, tornadoes, land. Hurricanes, water, tornadoes, land. And tornadoes are funnel clouds. They're known for their funnel shape. So you can identify a tornado by the funnel shape. Now, not all of them are going to be this thin, but it does have a distinct funnel shape to it. Then you have blizzards. This one seems to be y'all's favorite type of weather because that means no school. But we miss you guys when there's blizzard. Now, we haven't had a good blizzard in a few years, but blizzards are heavy precipitation, specifically snow. Blizzards have lots and lots and lots of snow, as you can see in that picture. There's usually high winds with blizzards that are blowing the snow around and continue to keep the air cold so that the snow accumulates. And obviously, snow, it's real cold. All right, thunderstorms. This is the one that we're probably most familiar with and that you remember the best because we have them all the time. But there's high winds, heavy rains, and there has to be thunder and lightning present because they're thunderstorms. Usually there is a lot of rain. And when there's a lot of rain, that brings us to our next topic of droughts versus floods. So when there's too much rainfall, you have a flood. And a lot of times that rainfall, that too much rainfall, is in a very short period of time. However, remember, droughts are the opposite. So flood is too much rain, droughts are not enough rain over long periods of time. So if you look at the picture, on this side here, you have the cracking of the dry ground because it's just so dry, the plants are dying, and the soil looks more like rocks. Whereas over here where you have the flood, the water is taking everything over, it's up against the walls and the buildings, it's almost as tall as this wall right here. So these, remember, are opposites. Now, severe weather can cause weathering and erosion. Weathering, remember, is breaking down of rocks through wind, water, or ice. So if you look at this picture right here, you can see that in the center of this arch, it has been weathered away. Most likely it's been weathered by wind, just looking at how they have a canyon there. But it could also have been a mix of wind and rain. And then erosion is the moving of rocks and soil from one place to another. So if you have erosion and then if you have weathering, sorry, and then you have rain, you're going to have erosion. Now, this picture here is of erosion. However, you can see where it's kind of weathered away, and then the soil and water are draining out because the water is washing the soil away. Now, I want you to notice how here there aren't any plants, and it looks like there's tunneling here, so maybe there's a pipe or something there. I'm using my drawing conclusion skills from reading. But there's tunneling here, so this ground was really loose, wasn't very well kept together. But you can see over here where this ground is holding tight, and that's because there's roots there that are holding it in. So one way to stop the erosion is to plant more trees and various other plants because those roots hold the soil in place. So remember, best way, stop erosion, plant more plants. All right, so that is the end of this science lesson. I hope that you enjoyed our quick little review. Your choice sports are on your class web pages or on Seesaw, and you have 4 options to choose from for this week that relate to severe weather and weathering. Love you all.